My name is Dr. Rima Assuil. I am the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs at Kosh Riyadh Female. I'm also a member of the English department. We will have time for questions and answers and comments, inshallah, at the end of the session. Today's workshop will be about your learning styles and how to boost your memory. Inshallah, it's going to be fun, if I do say so myself. I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen with you. So let me know once you can see it.
We can see it, Doctor.
Excellent. Okay. So what are learning styles? And why is it important that we discover what our learning style is? Everybody has a learning style, and the fact that you made it to university means that you're very comfortable and very familiar with your own learning style. It's the way you succeed in your learning. كيف الواحد يفهم الشيء كيف يدخل مخه، هذا هو اسمه learning style حقك, and it's unique to each person. It's how you naturally learn and work the easiest is what we consider your learning style. And there are multiple different types of learning styles. So let's try this experiment first. Sorry. What I want you to do is I want you to join your hands. يعني اشبكوا أصابعكم في بعض. Put your hands together. Okay, and I want you to take a look at which thumb is on top. Is it your left thumb or is it your right thumb? Okay. Now, if I've asked you to join your hands together but make the other thumb on top, يعني if you naturally إذا شبكتوا إيديكم في بعض naturally the left thumb is on top, I want you to join them again but make the right thumb on top. You'll find that this is a little bit more difficult. You can do it, but it doesn't come to you as naturally. Okay, and it gives you a weird feeling. Okay, because this is something we do automatically. It's something that we're very it comes to us very naturally and we're very comfortable with it. And anything different than what our body or our brain tells us to do automatically might feel a little bit uncomfortable. And this is exactly like your learning style. Your learning style is what your brain and your body feels natural in doing. كيف it processes المعلومات اللي جاية اللي تدخل المخ، كيف مخك قاعد أو يعني يفهمها naturally. فأي شيء أحاول أسويه مختلف عن طبيعتي, it's gonna feel uncomfortable, but that does not mean I can't do it. Okay, and there's a really nice quote here that says everything feels right, but if the environment doesn't match your style, you feel out of place, you might feel uncomfortable, maybe you feel like you can't do your best. And so to combat these feelings, to fight these feelings that are it's unnatural and I'm uncomfortable, we find ways to adapt to our environment so that we can fit and we can learn. Okay? So what is a learning style? طيب أنا من أول ما بديت لي 5 دقائق وأنا أتكلم learning style. What's a learning style? So your personal learning style has a very big influence on you personally. Okay, it doesn't only guide how you learn and you learn in school, but it's also how you view different types of experiences. Okay, I can't move this. No problem. How you view experiences, how you understand information, even the words that you choose to express ideas and facts come from the way you process learning. Okay, and each type of learning process might access different parts of the brain. I think you're very familiar that the right side of the brain processes different types of information, whereas the left side of the brain processes the other type. So we find that the right side of the brain is more creative, and the left side of the brain is more analytical. And this, yani, scientists have done extensive research on an issue, and there's more research that can be done. Learning styles بدأت تقريبا في السبعينات. Studies it probably started earlier, but it became a very popular issue in the 70s. You will find multiple studies. يعني في دراسات مختلفة تقول لك there's 3 learning styles, there's 8 learning styles, there's 7 there's multiple research. يعني في كثير من الكلام عنها عن ايش learning style. But the one that's agreed on is that there are 7 common types of learning styles. Okay, and I describe them here to you quickly. عندنا الفيجوال اللي هو زي النظري، يعني تستخدمون الصور images, spatial understanding, and we'll talk more about a visual learner in a minute. We have the auditory, or someone who's musical. For example, they like to use sound or music in their learning. We have people who are verbal, yani they're more linguistic style. They use words, both speech and writing. We have the physical. So they use their body, their hands, the sense of touch. We have the logical. This is someone who's very good at mathematics. They use lots of logic. They use reasoning. They like systems. We have a social, or the interpersonal learner, who prefers to learn in groups or with other people. And then we have the solitary, or the intrapersonal, which prefers to work alone or uses self-study. Okay. So these are the 7 common types, and as you can see here, there's a display in front of you of the different types. This one actually has 8. And I want you to pay attention to the one in the middle that says multiple intelligences, because a lot of people do fall. Yani we don't have only one learning style, and we can teach ourselves to have more than one learning style. And so I want to come back to هذه النقطة برجع لها إن شاء الله قريب. لكن as you can see, different types. I didn't talk about the naturals, someone who's nature smart as well. We have people who are that. And your learning style can determine what you might do later on in the future. It doesn't necessarily مو معناها إنه أنا مثلا nature smart I'm going to be مزارع, بس إنه this is something where I succeed. Okay. Again, pay attention to the center here. We have multiple intelligences, and a large group of people fall under multiple intelligences. I want to talk about the 3 most common learning styles that we see and we use in schools. That is the visual learner, the auditory learner, and the physical learner. Okay, so these are the 3 that we focus mostly on in university setting. And I'm going to do a little test. We can quickly do a little test to see where you fall. So what I want you to do is, if you have a paper or pencil, or إذا الجوال معاكم where you can take down quick notes, I will read a couple of questions to you so you can see what type of learner you are and then move forward from there. Okay? Okay, I'm going to assume that we are. So what you have to do is just write down the number that applies to you. So if number 1 يعني تحس انه يتطابق مع شخصيتك او مع شخصيتك انت يا طالبه، تحطين رقم 1، رقم 6، رقم 7، بعدين في الاخير نشوف what type of learner we are. So number 1 says I learn best by reading on my own. Number 2, I get the best results from listening to lectures. Number 3, I enjoy courses where there is some physical activity. Number 4, I can learn how to do something by watching a demonstration of how it's.
Hello, doctor. Are you there?
Yes. Am I back?
Yes, but the screen isn't here.
Yes, I'll put the screen back on. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so we stopped at number 5, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, number 5, class discussions are helpful to me. Number 6, I like to type and use the computer. Number 7, illustrations charts and diagrams improve my understanding? Number 8, I'd rather listen to the teacher's explanation than to do the assigned reading. Number 9, I get more out of lab classes than lectures because of the hands-on approach. Number 10, how-to manuals and printed directions are helpful to me. How-to manuals يعني زي pamphlets or handouts. Number 11, I like to use audio lessons and exercises. Number 12, I'd rather work with machines and equipment than listen to or read explanations. Okay. Number 13, I can learn to do something if someone shows me how. Number 14, I can follow directions best when someone reads them to me. And finally, number 15, it's not enough to show me, I have to do it myself. Now take a few minutes, go over them again before we look at the results. Make sure that you put the numbers of what applies to you. Okay, so if everybody has their numbers ready, we'll move on to the next slide. So if you had checked number 1, number 4, number 7, number 10, and number 13, then you fall under what we call a visual learner, or you have the characteristics of a visual learner. If you checked number 2, 5, 8, 11, and 14, then you have the characteristics of an auditory learner, a listener. And if you checked 3, 6, 9, and 12, and 15, then you're more of a physical or someone who likes to use their touch and sense of feeling, a physical learner. Okay? Now, some of you might find that you check differently 2 or more among the different categories, which means you're equally comfortable using your different senses when learning. You're comfortable using visually, you're comfortable using the audio, and also physical. Did everybody find where they fall?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So once you know where you are, you can start researching or just reading more about your type of learning skills and how to help improve your absorption of material. أو إنه كمان كيف أنا طلعت visual learner، طب كيف أكون more of a physical learner or become more of an auditory learner. لأنه على حسب الكورس بتكون في مواد you need to be more than a visual learner to take it in. Okay, so at least knowing where you are can help you improve. So if you do a quick Google search, I did a quick Google search and found these 2 quizzes that are more in depth. يعني هذه تعطيك أعمق تفاصيل أكثر about what type of learner you are. So simply go into Google and type learning style quizzes وبتطلع لك, and you will find that there are different types of quizzes that can explain later on more about your style of learning. So, as I've mentioned before, your brain uses different parts when learning, and different learning skills use specific sections of the brain to learn. So you could see that we have the verbal and the auditory on the left side of the brain, and we have the physical or the visual and the visual on the right side of the brain, because these are more creative. Okay, but then this is a chart of the division of different things that the brain can do. What we have to keep remembering is that learning is active. لما أقول لكم learning is active معناها it takes effort. Okay? If you don't participate in learning, you won't be successful. Okay, احنا تكلمنا في البداية إنه your learning style is what comes naturally to you. احنا كhuman beings, we're born and we learn. We learn how to walk, we learn how to speak, but this is something that we do actively. It means our brain is functioning. It's working for us to be able to do these things. Okay? If we don't try to participate in learning, then we will not be successful. Okay? Research has, nobody will enjoy this sentence, but research has shown that forgetting starts as soon as learning happens. Because you're learning, you start to forget. Okay? We forget about 25% of information after the lecture. يعني تحضرون محاضرة لما تخلص ال 50 دقيقة هذه 25% of the information that you heard you already forgot. And then if you wait longer, 50%, if it's not reviewed and you don't actively try to learn it, is forgotten. And by the time finals come, 75% of information that you heard, you only simply heard, is gone. That's why we have to be active in our learning. So the learning process takes effort on your part. طبعا هذا أحس إنه شوي ثقلت عليكم بالمعلومات. الأرقام مو حلوة, بس it's when we're learning we are active. Your brain is working and you need to nourish and help and support this activity in your brain. So when we start involving different parts of the brain while we're learning, we will start to remember more. So if we visualize, if we listen, if we write with our hands, we feel writing, if we look at the pictures, the books, the diagrams, if we listen to conversations, we're involving more parts. We're making it more active, and we're putting in more effort, and this will improve our learning. So we're talking about here your brain and memory. We want to improve our learning. We want to retain. We want to keep this information that we learned. So how do we fix our memory? So as human beings, we're capable of amazing achievements. يعني شوفوا وين وصلنا. The inventions and the ideas and the theories that we have achieved as human beings until today is all يعني سبحان الله. Our brains have done such amazing efforts. What we need to remember is that we're not born with these skills, but we develop them, and we use different techniques, and there's a lot of practice for us to achieve such amazing achievements. One thing that يعني is very comforting for me, أنا لما أسمع شيء زي كذا أرتاح, إنه learning and memory is not a skill, it's a talent. يعني هي مو موهبة. Okay, موهبة is تعرفون الفرق بين skill and talent, right?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, so a talent is something that you're born with, something that not too many people can do. Okay, so it's a very special, unique thing that one or a few human beings can do. But a skill is that all human beings can learn. Okay, if you put in enough time and effort and you're active in the skill, then you can learn it and you can achieve it. So memory, alhamdulillah, is a skill. Learning as well is a skill. Okay, so there are many different types of steps that we can take that can help improve or boost our memory. And if we learn them and we practice them, then we can make studying a lot easier for us as students as lifetime learners. يعني أنتم لما تتخرجون من الجامعة إن شاء الله, that doesn't mean you will stop learning. You will continue to learn. يعني أنا myself I'm continuously learning and researching and finding things. So we never stop, and that's why this skill is important to achieve and keep working on. So there's research that suggests that if we use the following steps that I will teach you now, it can really help in boost information retention. يعني نحفظ المعلومات أكثر. So let's look at some of these steps. So it's really just training your brain, okay? Because as I said before, it's an active effort. So we need time, we need to recite. There's something called mnemonics, and I will discuss it. There's picture information, and there are keywords. So these 5 types of steps. Yes. So this type of information can help you boost your memory and retain information for a longer period of time. So the first one is time. Time is very important, and I know that as students نضغط في الوقت ونذاكر قبل الاختبار, and we find that doesn't work, okay? So what happens when you overload your brain stops. It will not let you memorize anything anymore, okay? What also happens is that you become bored. خلاص يوقف المخ يعلق. It will not accept any more information. It's bored and you lose motivation. So the best I think to do is to spread your memorization over several short sessions. So like I told you, بعد المحاضرة نرجع the 25% اللي I lost, I go and I write it down. I review the notes. I ask questions of my friends. I talk to my teacher. I rewrite my notes, whatever you need to do. They suggest no more than 2 hours each time. So if we say, for example, we review after class half an hour and then the next day half an hour and so on, by the time the midterm comes around, I've had enough short times that my memory, that this concept that داخلة مخي يعني فهمتها. But don't ever try to cram. Cram means stuffing as much information as you can in a short period of time, because this will not help you memorize. The night before the exam is the time to review what's already in your head, not to add new information. When you're doing a math problem, you do parentheses, بعدين exponents, بعدين multiplication, بعدين division. صح كلنا أخذناها هذه في الرياضيات. طبعا أنا مو شاطرة في الرياضيات, فهذه كانت مرة تقهرني. So we used to call it, this is the mnemonic to remember it by, PEMDAS. So when I'm doing a math equation, I remember, okay, PEMDS, okay, first I have to do parentheses. Has anybody ever done this before?
Now this is like an optional class, like that's why.
No, but I'm saying using mnemonics in their class, not. طيب, we'll look at other things.
Yeah, for example, Fun Boys, I think. For
Yes,
handwriting.
thank you.
Why?
Yeah, that is a mnemonic. Yes.
I was removed.
We can hear you.
Yes,
You're
Miss
fine.
Yeah, I
Can you
was
just
moved too.
restrict- No. Someone's removing us. Kicking
Yes,
people
someone
from the
removed
meeting.
people.
Can you just restrict that? If your time is okay with that.
Yeah, I'm being removed as well. Let me see. Okay, we're all good now.
Hopefully.
Yeah, Miss.
And my screen is still there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another mnemonic that I usually use is never eat shredded wheat. It's a way for me to remember direction: north, east, south, west. Their order. When we were children, we used to say, eat an apple as a nice snack to remember the continents. Okay, so Europe, Asia, whatever. So these are all mnemonics. One of the most important mnemonics اللي صدق يعني لصقت معاي is the one here in the middle, if you can see it. There, and there. And as an English learner, this was very difficult for us to distinguish the spelling. But as you can see, for the word there to mean لهم هم, you see there's a man in the middle that represents the I. So that's how we spell it. For the directions there, one of the things I learned is if you cover the T, تعطيك كلمة here. So you always ask yourself, if it's not here, then it is there. And that's how I remember the spelling difference using a mnemonic. Okay, and then there, they are. So this was a type of mnemonic that was used in English spelling. طبعا في pharmacology, there is in science, there's a different, you'll find that they're used differently. And mnemonics is an excellent way to boost your memory. لأنه these clever little ideas, they seem to stick with you. Okay?
All right.
On.
Okay.
The third thing we're going to talk about, or is it the fourth thing we're talking about, is picturing information in your mind. Okay, so try to visualize different words and pictures while you study, and this will help you to remember. For example, if you're studying different parts of the cell, okay, and you see a picture in front of you in your science book or in your anatomy book or whatever book it may be that shows you the different parts, after looking at the picture carefully, close your eyes and try to recall as much information or as many details as possible, okay? This will help you because when you're answering test questions, you can again shut your eyes or close your eyes for a second and try to visualize the picture that you had before, just like when you're studying. Using different parts of your senses really improves your memory. Research has shown that even chewing gum while studying and then chewing the same flavor of gum while taking the test helps you remember certain type of information because you're using the sense of taste as well as your sense of vision and your sound. So as many senses you can involve during retaining and taking in information will help you also retain and output information.
May
Last
I
one.
add a point?
Yes.
It's not only chewing gum. Some research has been done on perfumes. If you do,
We lost you.
someone muted me. Sorry.
Okay.
Some research has been done about smell. So if you spray a perfume while studying, then spray it in the classroom or test room, it also helps.
Yes, excellent. Because you're using the different parts, as many different parts of your brain and senses that can help you recall and information. So that's a good point. Yeah. So if there's a specific perfume or gum or whatever that you think you can carry along with you without bothering others, that would be a great way to help yourself recall and boost your memory. Thank you for that. We'll move on to the next point in memory retention. It is having keywords. Now, this is something I used a lot in my studies just because I studied criticism and poetry and because my major was in English. And there were a lot of names that I couldn't remember, names of poems and things like that. So I used keywords and word association. So sometimes memorizing new words can be very difficult. Like if you associate it with keywords. For example, if we look at, I think you say it as ziggurat, which is, you can see in the image, the old type of building where they build bigger pieces and then it becomes smaller and smaller on top. For example, in history class. So this is a very difficult word to remember. It's not a common word that you see. So we try to do a keyword or a key association. And so we look for some type of information that might help us remember. So in this case, the word zig, as in zigzag, might help me remember that this is a type of building that looks kind of like a zigzag. Have you ever seen a zigzag? Do you know what that is?
Yes, and not straight line.
Yeah, no, it's not a straight line. And this is kind of what the building looks like. So what I did is I will never forget this word because time is one of the most important concepts. And I stress time because I know that as students, we tend to wait till the last minute because we lack time to cram as much information as possible before the exam. But my piece of advice for you would be to just dedicate a short period of time every day to go through your notes. I like to handwrite my notes. I still do because I'm using more of my senses. I know now you have the iPads. iPads are still just as doable because you are using either your fingers or a pen, the Apple Pen or whatever to write. And so you're still connected with the word visually. That might be helpful. So in conclusion, we all already have a learning style. Once you find out what that learning style is, and you begin to focus on it, and you begin to focus on where you might be lacking, you can begin to fill the gaps and understand where I might need to add more effort and be more active in my learning. You will need to mix and match the different types of learning style and include different types of your brain based on the material that you have in front of you. Like I mentioned before, this is a skill, which means we can learn it, which means there's hope for all of us to be able to boost our memory and improve our learning. I think the best type of advice is please don't stress. Just find your rhythm, find your flow. If you need to spray perfume, if you need to eat gum, if you need to talk to yourself, if you need to look in a mirror while you do this, if you need to draw pictures, find what works best for you. And remember that your brain is amazing and is capable of doing really, I don't want to use the word amazing again, but I can't think of anything else. It's capable of doing really amazing achievements. So just mess with it. Just find where you fit, especially being freshmen or part of KOSH, which is the, your beginning of the journey. Find where you are and what you belong and try different methods. Test yourself in different ways. See where your limits are. Just mess with your brain. Thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions and comments, you're more than welcome to ask. I have a hand up here. Khalid, I'm going to go by order.
Yes. Do you have a special method how to memorize the synonym? As you know, we have a lot of word to memorize.
So synonyms, are you talking about the reading course?
Yes.
Yes. So for me, the reading course, the best way to learn a word is not to learn it in isolation. It's to learn it in context. So if you and in my classes, I never just read a list to my students. I try to use the word as much as possible and read it in context. So my recommendation to you would be to use the word in sentences. That would be a good way to remember it. And then do the keyword association if you're having a very difficult time absorbing it even within context. I hope that helps. Rahaf?
Yes, doctor. I have a comment, not a question.
No problem.
There is a strategy. It's was helpful to me.
Excellent.
I'm gonna say it in Arabic, okay?
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah. Help your friends.
Okay. في استراتيجية اسمها 3 قراءات كنت أستخدمها في أغلب المواد. كنت أجيب صراحة درجات. اسمها 3 قراءات. كيف مثلا أنتوا تعلمتوا معلومة اليوم، أي معلومة، مثلا تعريف الإسلام مثلا، أي شيء، إذا كررتوا المعلومة يعني استذكرتوها على مخكم 3 مرات مختلفة الأوقات، يعني راح تلزق في مخكم، ما راح تقدرون تنسونها. مثلا أنت مثلا أخذتوا المعلومة يوم الأحد، جاء يوم الاثنين طرت المعلومة على بالكم كذا، مو لازم تكون نفس المعلومة، لا، بس إن استرجعتوا المعلومة كذا على مخكم، وجاء يوم الثلاثاء استرجعتوها شوي بشكل سريع، مو لازم بشكل دقيق. عمركم ما راح تنسونها. صدق يعني كانت فعالة بالنسبة لي أنا.
Shukran, Rahaf. Yes, and this goes back to the idea of time. If you divide your work into short periods of time over different days, you won't forget it. So Rahaf تقول إنه 3 مرات تكرر المعلومة ساعدتها ما تنساها. But that's very interesting. I hope that it does work, that it's 3, just repeating it 3 times on 3 different occasions will help you remember. So find what works for you. Excellent. Sultan?
Yeah, Miss. Yes. I have a question about the POS list. Is there like a specific way to makes it easy to memorize it or something?
The P, again, repeat which list?
The POS, the part of speech.
The part of is there an easy way to remember it? Well, I don't know. Maybe repetition and use, I would imagine, because this is it's grammar, and grammar is achieved through use. So maybe speaking out loud, reciting it out loud would be, and if you can create a mnemonic for it, I would say that would be the best part of advice. So like I said, just try and see what works best for you. I'm sorry, I don't have a real answer, Sultan.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Hussam.
Yes, Doctor. First of all, thank you so much for this awesome workshop. My question is, sometimes I have the passion, excitement to start to study right now, but after approximately 20 to 30 minutes, I got sick of it. I really can't complete studying. So is there a way to reactivate myself or my mind?
I can't tell you to reactivate. Maybe your type of learning style is taking in short periods of time. So if you find that you can only your brain only accepts 30 minutes at a time, then that's how you have to schedule your studying sessions. And I will do 30 minutes, then I need to take a break. Like I told you, once your brain is unmotivated or it's bored, it will stop taking in information. So get to know yourself. طيب أنا من النوع اللي مثلا ما أقدر بعد نص ساعة خلاص. I'll tell you a piece of information about me. أنا إذا أذن المغرب nothing goes in my head. خلاص أتوتر. فأنا صرت إيش أسوي؟ صرت أذاكر أول ما أرجع من الجامعة أو whatever. وأخلص قد ما أقدر قبل المغرب. بعدين المغرب أنام أتغدى I do whatever. So I found my rhythm. So find what works best for you. So if you find I think Hussam that 30 minutes at a time is your limit, then please find a way to work around it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. I have Sami.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a suggestion and the question. I'll start with the suggestion.
Okay.
Can you just notify the administration team for the learning skills group that it would be appreciated to limit the access of students, because I think we have mature people. We're getting kicked out at the same time.
Okay.
Okay. The question is, what do you know, or do you happen to know of anything about mind palaces?
Mind palaces.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what that is.
All right, then
Do you have any information on mind palaces that you can share with us?
I'm not really sure, but it's a way of remembering. It's like drawing. I'm not sure if it's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But it's a way of like drawing a palace in your mind that specifies each area. It's about imagination for each detail. So you specify a area for like maths, an area for science, an area for anatomy, whatever it is. But I'm not sure about it.
Okay, so it could be maybe a way that a visual learner. Let me go back to the different diagram on the brain. So it could be something that maybe someone who's more visual or maybe self-aware can use. Maybe.
It is probably related to that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Do I have any more? I don't have any more hands up. Okay, there we go. Mazen?
Yes. Here you said that we choose the way that we learn, either visually or physically, and two different other ways. When I scored mine, I have 4 interests, which are visual learning interests, and 5 physical. Which one do I choose? Or do I choose both?
No, don't choose one. That means that you are one of the people who fall under multiple intelligences. يمكن انك انت ترتاح في شيء اكثر مما في الثاني. بس يعني ترى learning style مو شيء واحد you have to stick to it. Learning style is what comes يعني هذا الشيء يجيك naturally. اوكي زي لما حطينا ايدينا على بعض تلقى انه الاصبع الايسر فوق الايمن، ولكنك تقدر تغير انك تحط الايمن فوق الايسر، بس انه it's not natural to you. لكن you should try to use the different learning styles، لانه على حسب المعلومه اللي قدامك او على حسب الماده اللي قدامك يمكن انك تحتاج different types of styles عشان تستوعبها. ف you don't have to fall under one. Just انك تعرف ايش naturally comes to me is very helpful, so that the other ones you work on achieving them as well. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Noura?
Yes, Miss, I have a suggestion.
Yes, dear. Noura, you're muted.
Yes,
Yes,
Miss,
now we
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you. Yeah.
Okay, I think the vocab list was the difficult things that we have in this semester. The first one was very difficult for me, so I don't study the second one as we have this list. I made my own list. I put some stickers and reaction that we really use in our life that make it more fun, and I put sentence instead that definition. It was really fun for me when I studied.
Excellent. So what you did, Noura, there is that you recited the information, you repeated it, you visualized it, you sensed it. يعني you use different types of styles. كونك كتبتيها وحطيتي لها stickers وأشياء زي كذا، استخدمتي الفيزيكال واستخدمتي الفيجوال. فهذا الشيء كمان يساعدك إنك تحفظين المعلومة أكثر. As well as you spent more time on the information. بدل ما بس أقراها، لا أنا قاعدة أشتغل عليها. So I'm being an active member. So that's an excellent suggestion, Noura. I think I saw someone named Rayan had their hand up, but I don't see it anymore. Is your question answered? All right, we have Asia.
Yes, and thank you for saying my name correct for the first time. Thank you. About the vocab list, I memorized the words by putting them in sentences. And
Excellent.
also, this helped me to remember the part of speech. So if I see any word, I remember.
Asia, I think you're muted.
Yes, I'm mute again.
Yes, yeah, okay.
Okay, I put the words in sentences so I can, when I see the word, I remember which part of speech.
Excellent. So I think a lot of you are using already the technique of time, cutting it into short times, of touching and feeling and visualizing the material, and you've come to find, this is very helpful to you. So the recommendation to the rest of the group is spend more time with the material. Spend more time with the material. Write it down, repeat it. It looks like reading هو اللي مبهدلكم أكثر شيء, vocab list. So maybe using it in context and spending a little bit more time with it might be helpful. Rahaf?
يس دكتور، الطريقة اللي قلت لكم عليها اللي هي 3 قراءات ما فادتني بس في الثانوي، فادتني حتى في الجامعة نفسها، خاصة في الريدنج، في الفوكاب ليست. مثلا في الأوديو برزنتيشن كان عندي كلمة ما كنت أقدر حتى أنطقها اللي هي incorporate، ما كنت أقدر أنطقها على بعض. فكنت سلمت الأوديو طيب، وكنت مرة يائسة إني أنطقها أو إني أستخدمها. بعدين اليوم اللي بعده كنت أتكلم مع أخوي وقلت له عن الكلمة طيب، وبس وراحت، وجاي اليوم اللي بعده وقلتها، بس كذا طرت على بالي، والحين أقولها لكم بدون ما أستذكرها حتى لأنها صارت خلاص على بالي. فحلوة في الفوكاب في الفوكاب راح تفيدكم.
Yeah, because you became more active and you put more effort in your learning. So excellent. Thank you. Okay, it seems we don't have any more questions or comments. I want to thank you all for joining. Wait, Tariq? Yes, Tariq.
I just have one more question about pronouncing hard words. Do you have any tips or any ways of trying to tackle hard words?
Yeah, pronouncing hard words is you have to hear them and you have to practice them and then hear yourself saying them. So record yourself and then listen to where your difficulty comes from. I will have to say that there are some words, no matter how many times I use them, I cannot pronounce them. Specifically في كلمة longitudinal ما عمري قلتها إلا I have to pause. Longitudinal.
Oh, okay.
There are some words.
That's good to know.
Yeah, there are some words that are just المخ ما يستوعبها. لكن the majority of words, yes. The majority of
there
words.
There is a tip.
Yeah.
Continue. I'll add
yeah.
that when you finish.
Yeah, so there are some words that you just difficulty, but the majority of words, if you break them down into syllables, if you hear yourself recite them, you will be able to get them, inshallah. Practice.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Thank you very much.
I think in the learning state, it would be very helpful if you cut it down into 3 sections or 2 sections.
Yeah.
Before practicing them.
Do you mean like the syllables of a word?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sultan?
Yeah, miss. One of my friends here in this session, he have a question, but he's a little bit shy. His name is Osama.
Osama, there's no reason to be shy. We're all peers here. Would you like to ask your question through Sultan? You may do so. So there's no question? You can type it in the chat. Mishari?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I just have one question. How can I develop my accent?
Develop your accent. Okay, that's definitely just practice. Listening and speaking is the best advice I can give you. And that's an easy advice because you can just simply watch lots of movies, listen to podcasts, to music, to watch YouTube videos. يعني مو واجب صعب أحس. And then speak to as many people as you can in English and don't be worried about making mistakes. Make mistakes and then correct them. That's how we learn. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. البتول?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Sometimes I feel lazy, but under pressure and the time for exam or quiz, I just I get just remembered, but I didn't study it, but I actually have a problem. I don't know how to study.
No, you have a study method, بس إنه it's not maybe the traditional method. لأنه أنت تقولين إنه لما يجي الاختبار تعرفين تجاوبين، صح ولا لا؟
Yes.
Yeah, so that means you do have a learning style, you do have a method, but maybe it's not the typical way, and so you feel إنه أنا مو زي الباقيين، أنا ما أذاكر، أنا غير. لا, you have a learning style. Please find out what it is and push towards it. لأنه obviously you're doing okay. هذا كنت قابلتي عندنا في الكلية، يعني في الكلية. I don't know, تخصصتي ولا لسه؟
Oh, I'm freshman.
Freshman, yeah. So I mean, you wouldn't have made it to this university if you didn't have a learning style and you didn't succeed. So please find out, Al-Batul, what is your learning style and focus on it. Don't forget the negative. Forget the typical learning style الموجودة. There is a picture of a teacher قاعد يدرس فيل وقرد وسمكة ونمر أو شيء زي كذا. وقال لهم, to be fair, we will all take the same test, which is please climb the tree. طبعا القرد والنمر بينجحون والباقيين لا. ليه؟ لأنه that's not fair. They're expecting one type of style to be successful. Okay? But there are multiple different ways that we can learn how to climb a tree. صح ولا لا؟ So Albatul, you are fine. You're fine. You're doing good. Please find out what your learning style is and then focus on that. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Asia again? No. Okay. And then I still have Mishari with his hands up.
معلش أنا كان عندي كومنت بس برضو كل شوي بيسوي لي ميوت.
سوى ميوت مرة ثانية.
للأسف معلش. كنت بس بقول تعليق على مرة يعني بكسل فمن جد تحت الضغط مرة أنجز مرة فصرت دائما أحط نفسي تحت الضغط ومن جد أنجز بس مو ضغط يخليني ما أقدر أركز لا خلاص أنا أعرف أحط نفسي ديدلاين دائما خلاص ما يجي الديدلاين هذا إلا أنا ممكن مخلصه اللي المفروض أسويه.
So what you're doing is you're creating your own pressure.
ايوه عشان اقدر انجز زياده.
اوكي.
ادري انه هذا هو الجو الكويس لي.
هذا جوك.
بالضبط.
Like I said, find your rhythm. Find your rhythm and find what works for you. So Asia found that putting herself under pressure works. So she started creating deadlines for herself. And this is someone who has become familiar with their learning style and is very comfortable with how their brain works. Thank you, Asia. Okay, I don't see any more hands up. And we have 4 minutes till 5 o'clock. So I'm going to assume that you all enjoyed this workshop. You learned great information and you are very thankful to have an amazing doctor like me present. So thank you very much for attending. If you have any questions or comments, you're more than welcome to leave them in the chat and I will answer them. Thank you all for attending.